Hi, everyone, and welcome. It is day number 15 of our sprint. I can't believe we've been doing this for 3 weeks now. Want to say hi to you. And today is day 21 of the guide. So we've got Cheryl, we've got Samina. Marty has done an RSVP. She won't be with us today, but you are continuing to truck along. So I want to inquire, hybrid work style quiz. Cheryl, I know you did it. What style did you come up as?
Oh, I'm the builder. I
You're
get
the
stuff done.
builder. Was that a surprise or was that a pretty,
No,
you knew it?
no, I've always worked in entrepreneurial environments where getting stuff done is really important.
Getting stuff done is always important in my world too. So that's interesting. And I love hearing that. Well, I hope you'll join me as we get rolling. I know you had noted the link that wasn't working for the webinars because they aren't live yet. So
Oh,
that's good to
okay.
know. Yeah, I'm going to start setting them up in a couple of weeks. Samina, did you do the hybrid work style quiz?
No, good morning, both of you. No, I didn't. I thought of it and I thought I would find a link somewhere on the Facebook or something. I didn't. And I didn't copy down the link that you sent. Where can I find it easily?
It's bit.ly.com/hybrid work quiz. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure I put it on LinkedIn actually. So if you're on
Did you?
LinkedIn,
Okay.
connect with me. I put a little post up this morning asking people to share if they're willing what their type is, because I sort of think it's interesting. So that'll be open for the next week. All right, well, today it's teams and focus. And like we are always part of teams. Teams, I always think of you, Tiff, actually. Tiff always is saying, you know, she's a solopreneur, but she's not alone. And as she works with women entrepreneurs, they're not alone. Mompreneurs are never alone. So today we're talking teams and focus. It's Thursday, which historically has always been my Teams Thursday. Over at the Teams 365 blog, which is a whole other ecosystem, I blog for team leaders and team members at potentialsrealized.com. And I've done that since the beginning of 2014. So if you ever need anything on Teams, head on over to really potentialsrealized.com. So this week, today is the last day of clarity. I just want to note that tomorrow we're shifting into a Friday focus for our week 4. So just a reminder to keep on going with this. We talked already about the quiz. Yes, a bit.ly hybrid work quiz. And then today, and you'll get a little report, you know, which I think is sort of fun. We talked yesterday about motivation, or earlier this week, we talked about motivation. And today we're going to talk about teams because motivation is one part of great team effectiveness, but so are some other areas. So I wanted to take us back to some research done by Project Aristotle, which was done at Google. And they found, and Cheryl was talking about this earlier this week, they found that really 5 areas were needed for teams to thrive. One, they needed to feel psychologically safe. I may come to you, Cheryl, to give us a definition on that. Dependability was also a really important factor for team success in this Project Aristotle work. Also, teams felt that they needed structure and clarity. They also needed to have some meaning in their work and see the impact of their work. So these are interesting sort of 5 key elements. They're a little different than the 6 factors that I shared back on day 5. This is yet another layer of teaming and teams. And I just like to really, you know, remind you with all of the learning, one of the reasons why this is not like a 5-day guide, this is a 90-day guide, because there's always a next layer. So whether you're with us for 5 days or the entire 90 days, I hope that you'll find this sort of layer of team effectiveness really useful, because I don't think, you know, in a regular course of the day, we may not think about impact and meaning. If you are a coach, you'll notice that one of our PCC markers is in fact asking the client what's important or meaningful about the topic. But we don't always use that term, like what's meaningful about this, what's relevant about this. And as leaders, certainly as a former leader myself, it was really always very important in my remote and hybrid teams to help people connect with their meaning, because their context was different, right? I couldn't see their context sometimes. Sometimes it was a shared context, but many times it was their own. So keep these in mind as you think about teamwork. Also, on top of this, I have some other tips in day 21. And I want to really sort of just put these forward. These are things that if you've ever heard me speak on team coaching, if you've ever heard me speak on team effectiveness, you've probably heard me reference these at one point or another. So I want to layer this on as well. Number one, the strength of a team is its diversity. And that's why this week I'm zooming into this notion of motivation and work styles, because the best teams, typically through research, are usually found to have very divergent strengths, skills, and styles. Now, that means that we have to really cultivate new skills to work across those differences. However, if we're all the same, we're not going to get that same sort of lever, because we'll have a lot of blind spots, right? Too many strengths, too many of similar strengths leaves you with huge gaps. And when we can come with diverse skills, diverse experiences, diverse perspectives, diverse belief systems, and find a way to work that together, that's where strength really, really exists. So I want you to keep that in mind. And I also tend to talk about, I use this term, teams are like elephants, right? Elephants are big and unwieldy. Same thing with teams, right? To affect change on a team, it is like an elephant. It's these small incremental changes that aren't necessarily seen overnight. It's only when the team moves consistently in that new direction over a longer period of time, and this can be weeks or months or even years, that we really start seeing the change. Now, the challenge, of course, today is that our context is changing so rapidly. When you're looking for change over like 6 months, like the whole context might have gone radically different. And that's where agile approaches come in handy. You'll notice in today's day 21, which is our focus for today, there's a few notes around agile approaches, and we may have some time to look at that today. So, teams are like elephants. We also want to make sure that we're focusing on both results and relationships. That, of course, is foundational to the whole reconnecting workspaces. The equation is results plus relationships equals high performance. And in saying that, we really need to make sure that we're focusing on things like our core ingredients. I've already mentioned today, we did the 6 factors from day 5. You may also want to layer in this Project Aristotle work that we talked about. And a big focus area can be our identity and culture. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time going into this, but in Reconnecting Workspaces, we talk a lot about the building of remote and hybrid team culture and helping a team really get in tune with their identity. Just keeping in mind that our culture is, how do we do things here? And in a robust team culture, even if we're not together physically all the time or some of the time, we understand who we are. We have that sense of belonging and connectedness. We understand, what our sort of value system is as a team. We may have some mottos and mantras that sort of join us together. And so team identity and culture can be a really phenomenal window into the dialogue. Again, Reconnecting Workspaces is where we focus a little more on that topic. And finally, a reminder that great teams don't just happen. It's like this. We need to invest time, pause points, focus, and action. And it's through that ongoing learning cycle and feedback cycle that teams really get to be great. And I mean great in like awesome, exceptional. I have to say, I was very privileged for so many years to work with totally amazing teams, and we had to work it, right? Like, it was not just something we assumed that we would be great teams from day one. We would invest before our projects kicked off. We would invest days and sometimes weeks in team development to really make sure that we knew each other, we could rely on each other, because in a hybrid and a remote space, you've got to also think about, how is this other person going to be thinking? If I can't get in touch with them and we need to make a decision, what's their priority right now? What's important? What is their thinking pattern? If I make a decision as a leader, what is going to help boost that individual if I make a wrong call, and what's totally going to decimate them? And that's something that I don't think we often think about, right? And this is why this week we're talking motivation and tomorrow work styles. So I just want to pause. I've been talking now for my 9 minutes. That's our 9 minutes of content. Cheryl, I don't know if you have a definition of psychological safety for us.
Sure. Yeah, it happens to be top of mind. So psychological safety is a belief or perception that you will not experience any negative consequences for taking an interpersonal risk. And an interpersonal risk could be like asking a question, admitting you don't know something, admitting a mistake, speaking up. Any of those things would be an interpersonal risk for your brain.
Love it. And again, we just to fill in the dots. So if we don't have that safety, what can happen?
We shut down. We play it safe. We don't rock the boat.
Yes. Yes. And of course, in today's world, risk and being comfortable with risk is really important, right? It's in some ways, there's a higher risk factor involved in hybrid and remote work. And because we can't read the context, right? We can't read other people's minds. We may only see them once a week, virtually, not even physically. We can't sit down at that water cooler. Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing that, Cheryl. Samino, anything that's sort of getting enforced, reinforced for you today across all of this?
Psychological safety is definitely, and I really loved Cheryl's definition and explanation of it. Very, very well done. Again, like I have a group as well that I'm doing sessions with, and I found it's very important. It's very, very important. It's key for the participants to really feel free and, create that safe space, definitely, for people to share and tap into. I guess that's when people's wisdom comes out, when they share, right? And
Yes.
engage.
Yes.
And yeah.
So a nice segue into our breakout of the day. We're not going to stay in the main room. We're going to let you break out. And obviously today, Cheryl and Samina, you're going to be paired. You can talk teams. You can talk something relevant to your world as well, right? We're coming towards the end of the week. So maybe there's a project you really want to move across the finish line today. Or maybe it is, I'd like to really learn a little bit more about psychological safety. I'm going to leave today's breakout time pretty open. I'll give you 10 minutes. Ooh, lots of time, 10 minutes, and I'll bring you back in 10 minutes. So do you need any more structure than that, or is that good enough to sort of find some meaning and impact in your conversation?
Very good.
All right, let me just open our breakout rooms. There we go. They are open. We'll see you back here in 10 minutes. And Miss Tiff, I'm going to stay here with you. I don't know if there's a quick convo you want to have at all, but it's your call. So what's relevant in the world of teams for you this week? Anything?
Well, I think it's interesting, the definition of teams, because and how it expands and just, well, okay, what happened was this week, someone that I am in a group with but have never conversed with reached out to me because apparently on Facebook there's a thing called cloning, and someone cloned my profile.
Oh my goodness.
Now is reaching out to people and trying to sell them things.
I had that last week on Instagram. I was cloned on Instagram. So.
Okay, and I'm just like, okay, so I gotta have it recorded and all that stuff. And thank God it's not hacked, it's not that bad. But when you're talking about teams, I'm like, okay, this is what's so cool about this hybrid world, about this virtual community. Like people that you wouldn't even, it's not that you don't care, you just wouldn't have thought that they, and just to think that someone has your back to say, okay, by the way, I just want to let you know that this is happening, and
yes,
here's some troubleshooting. And I just thought that was so awesome, and what could, like, I think a year ago this would have really upset me, and I just would have focused on the fact that, oh my God, someone called me, this really sucks. But instead I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is so awesome that someone reached out to me and said, hey, I care.
Yeah. And here's what you know. I thought the same thing. It was interesting because I was like, I probably wouldn't have even heard of it from these people because I don't reach out to them directly. So it was nice that these people thought enough about me. They're like, Jen, this email seemed a little off. It really didn't sound like you. And I was like, oh, thank you. It really wasn't me. So within like 12 hours, they had mine sorted. It's really easy. And I think it's probably a lot more common than most people know. So.
Yeah. Like, right. The awareness of of that, and just to realize that I think a decade ago, if someone asked me, what's the definition of a team? And I'd say, well, you're in the workspace. The team is a group of people who get together. And now it's like, oh, wow, my definition of team has really changed.
Yes. Yeah. And you might even just replace it with community, right? Team, community.
Yes.
A lot of what we're talking about is really interchangeable, right? Some of these elements like roles and goals and purpose, and how do we have enough psychological safety to really be a community, because communities need to move through not only the good times but the bad times as well. So
yes, teams and community, I like that. Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you a few minutes to just do whatever you'd like. I'm going to go try and find my glasses. And
you do that.
Yeah, well, I'll be closing the rooms in 5. So I'm going to put myself on mute here. If I don't turn myself off, yeah, I'm going to just mute myself, and I'll be right back.
Okay, cool.
Hi, Tiff, I'm back. I'm going to close the rooms in just a minute. Still haven't found my glasses, but
Oh, geez.
I'll go take another minute to look around. At least I have a backup here. All right, found the glasses. Whew, 13 seconds to spare. How good is
Yeah,
that?
baby.
Whew, the things I don't get done by 8 a.m. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. So yes, there we go. All right, welcome back. So we won't take a long time today to just recap, but I noticed the excitement on both of your faces. Was it enjoyable? A good use of your time?
I think so. Yeah, we delved a bit more into psychological safety.
Ooh,
Yeah, and just reconnecting the shared resources and things that how we could support each other.
well, that's what teams are all about, right? I've got your back, you've got mine. Whether you're full of it, you're part of a team or you're just part of a work group, really critical skills. So tomorrow, we're talking work styles. And if you have a chance to do the hybrid work quiz, check it out. bit.ly.com/work style quiz. If you can't find that, go to yesterday's video on YouTube and you will see it. Or you can go to my LinkedIn profile and you'll see a recent post around that. And if we're not connected yet on LinkedIn, let's make sure we do that. So with that, have a great day and we'll see you tomorrow for Friday. We're going to do a quick Friday review and we'll kick into our week 4 topic. Tiff, thank you as always. Anything you want to say before we wrap?
No, my pleasure. I just think this is super fun. And I actually love getting up in the morning now. Like, woohoo.
Woohoo! Well, isn't that good? All right. It's more than good. It's great. So have a great day, everyone. We'll see you later. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.